Okay, so it's recording now. I won't record group work and stuff because that's, there's no reason to record that. But if I'm saying stuff or lecturing, I'll try to record that. So, okay, like I said, so just for those who, since the recording just started, so there's all this information about me, weekly study group textbook, you can just read all this. And then, like I said, so, okay, so you're gonna be submitting problem sets online. I have a couple small ones each week. I think it's best to do that rather than one large problem set. And so just to set like a regular schedule, I just said Tuesdays by 11 and Fridays by 5. I could have said Fridays by 11, but I don't want to, want to have your Friday night, right? Also, I have a lot of videos I've made because I taught linear algebra remotely, and I have some ambitions eventually that like we'd have sort of like a flipped classroom. It's not going to be fully flipped because I don't have enough videos for that, but like if I'm just lecturing at you, it's almost like you might as well just watch videos and take notes. Watch a video, take notes of me lecturing at you instead of me lecturing at you in person. But then when we're actually together, we can actually like, you can ask questions about stuff you saw in the videos, and we can delve more deeply into like group work and more examples, and even spend some time on the homework. So I would like to give you some videos to watch outside of class, and I'll ask you to take notes and upload those just because it'll force you to do it, and then everyone comes to class having watched the videos. So those are the two parts of the homework. Okay, grading breakdown, I just have like as 25, 25, 20, or 25. The way I feel about grading is I kind of wish there's an ungrading movement that I almost would like to be part of, where it's like we don't even give grades anymore, but it's hard to do that halfway, like, because if you have grades in other classes, obviously then you'll prioritize those. So I understand we still have to give grades. But I do think it's very reasonable to earn a very good grade in my class. In fact, I try to set it up in a way that if you work hard and consistently, you will definitely get a good grade. And so like, for example, the midterms, I'm going to give you, it's all going to be like, I won't use like a classroom or class time for midterms, but what you're going to do is I'm going to give you a midterm, and I can put like a time limit on Gradescope, so you can download it, and then you'll have like four hours or something to like write down your answers and re-upload it, and that's a closed book exam. You can like rake a cheat sheet and stuff. So it's sort of like but I consider that more like a self-test. It's like a good exercise to like try to prepare for an exam and take it and see how you do. But then afterwards, you'll have a second chance, and you can talk to anyone. You can do open book, open notes. You can talk to classmates. You can talk to me, and you can rewrite problems for 100% of the credit. The thing is, I will have a higher standard though of like the writing has to be nice. Like it has to be a nicely written solution. And I have more about this that I've written over the past few semesters, and I'm trying to cobble together for this semester. But like any problems that so you'll do the first closed book exam, you'll submit it, I'll grade it, and you'll get scores and stuff, but then you'll get a chance. Anything you're not happy, any problem where you're not happy with your score, you can rewrite and try to get a better score on. Okay, so that's like the idea of like, if you put in the full effort, then you should be fine. And that should also take away some of the like stress of like a closed book exam. Just think of it as like a self-test. How can I do without, all the resources? And then we can reopen it up to everything afterwards. Does that make sense? I mean, please jump in with questions or in the chat or anything. Okay, and then last sort of logistical thing is just pandemic stuff, right? Like we all know by now, do not come to class if you have any symptoms of anything. I'll be streaming over Zoom every day and recording. So you'll have a chance to either join live or watch later if you're not feeling well. Some students last semester got in the habit of just not coming to class and watching over the Zoom, which I don't think I like, and actually the administration is pushing back pretty hard on. So I would like you to come to class if you're not ill, you know, like I think coming to class is a good thing. Being in person is a good thing. So I don't want to make it too like encourage is too much, but like definitely if you're not feeling well for any reason at all, like feel free to just watch over Zoom. Makes it a little harder to do group work too, like if you're over Zoom, but anyways, so that's all the logistical nonsense. I'll get into what linear algebra is. I guess I should show you, I'll show you this page in a minute, but this is like the main page you're gonna check a lot, which is like this scheduled assignments page. And so, and in fact, I'll also try to post, like, I'll be posting sort of like, these are clickable. So I actually already had some stuff about like, you know, what the plan is for today. And then after class, I'll post the recording here so you can see it. And then other notes almost to myself also, as much as to you, just to remind myself like stuff to talk about. So right, so grade scope we'll talk about more on Thursday. We're doing the course logistics now, and then we're going to do group work. I don't think, you know, I have a little bit for Thursday, but mainly we're just going to keep going through this, but through the handout. But I'll probably put a bit more here between now and oh, I just realized I never turned this. I never changed this. This is, I think I copied this from my multivariable class and didn't change it. Sorry. Linear systems. Let's just do linear. Oh, I can't change it here. Okay. Oh, that's surprising. I can change it on my own. Okay. Sorry, I'll change that. Oh, I just closed the whole thing. All right. So like this, yeah. So this page you're going to want to check a lot. And I'll post the problem set. I think part of it is just the new edition of the book. I have to like figure out which numbers, the new numbers for the problems that I like, which is why they come out with new editions of the book, just to change the problem numbers so that you have to buy a new edition. You can't just use the old edition. So I will, yeah, I'll post this like today, and then that'll be the first problem set due next Tuesday. And I'll put some recommendations of like, you know, sections of the book to look at before class. When I say recommended reading, I don't mean like you have to read fully and understand everything. I think what I mean is like, it's a good habit to get into, to like look at the sections we're going to be covering, like, you know, connected to what we're going to be covering, and just read some of the terminology and like some of the main statements, and maybe try to work through one example or something, or a couple of easier examples, just to get like, it'll just make when you come to class and see it in class, it won't be like completely cold material to you. Of course, if I have you watch videos too, that's another way to not come to class cold. But it's just a, you know, the more times you see a concept, the more it starts to sink in. And so the more chances you give yourself. I just think it's a good idea. So, so I'll keep putting recommended readings, but I'm not gonna like, you know, check up on you with that or anything. It's just a general good approach. Okay. Yeah, so any other logistical questions? I feel like that was kind of piecemeal, haphazard. But, how you guys feeling? Okay, feeling good. Okay. All right. So linear algebra, we're going to get into this pretty quickly. We're going to talk a little bit about, generally about what linear algebra is. By the way, I just realized in my class yesterday, people were trying to talk and I couldn't hear them because I had the audio settings wrong. And I don't think I've heard anybody say anything yet. Could someone say hi just to say hi?
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, I don't hear anything. That's not good. Am I not connected? No, I'm connected. Is somebody saying hi?
Hello.
Uh-oh.
Hello.
I thought it felt too quiet. I'm using AirPod Pro. Why is this not working? Wait, okay, I switched to the system speaker. Someone try to say hi again.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm not hearing anything. What is going on? That's bad. That's a bad sign. Select a speaker. AirPod Pro. Let me disconnect and reconnect to my. Sorry, this is so annoying. It says it's connected. Someone say hi again.
Hello.
No, I don't hear anything. What is going on? This never happened with Zoom before. I wonder if I should leave the meeting to come back. Is this working in my previous class? Oh, test speaker and microphone. I do not hear a ringtone. Wow, I don't hear it coming from. Well, this is fun. Maybe what I'll do is leave the meeting and come back and see if that fixes it. I'll be back in a second. Sorry, this is very stupid. Oh, someone gets to be a new host. Alexander gets to be. Claim host. You can hear me. Are people talking?
Hi.
Hello.
People are talking and I still can't hear.
Hello.
I don't know what's going on. This is a little bit bad. Okay, actually, this is okay because we're going to be moving to this gather environment very soon. I don't know what's going on here. Luckily, it's just this week, and hopefully it won't be a thing. And it was working in my previous class. I don't know why it's not working now. I'm just going to take the AirPod out actually and see if. Switch. Oh. Briefly, a little thing popped up. Now someone talk.
Hello.
I can hear you. Okay. I don't know, it was an AirPod thing. Sorry about that. Oh, first day. All right. What was I doing? Oh, we were looking at the website. Oh, by the way, here's the textbook. That's not the textbook. Oh, that's the textbook. Yeah, here's the textbook. It looks like this. Like I said, I found it almost instantaneously online. Let's go back to the web page. Okay, so let's talk about linear algebra just for a few minutes, and then we'll really move to breakout, or not breakout rooms, to this gather space pretty quickly. So there's a kind of like really like 5,000 feet in the sky view of linear algebra, which is that math, most of you can like, if you look at a lot of math, it can come down to two things, which is like, we're good at solving linear problems. Like we're good with stuff that involves lines or planes or you know, anything that's like a straight, nice thing that doesn't curve and vary, right? And we're bad at everything else. So what we do is we come up with all these ways to linearize nonlinear problems. And that's like what a lot of calculus is, what a lot of differential equations are. Even like statistical analyses, you're really trying to like find a best fit line, you know, like all this stuff. And so there's all these other subjects that linearize nonlinear problems, and then you want to solve the resulting linear problem to get a good estimate for like a real world situation. And so what we're doing this second bullet point in this class, which is like how to solve linear problems, which is cool. And can be, there can be a lot there too. It's like, it's doable, but not always easy. So, so we'll be looking at linear systems, linear problems. The main object in linear algebra is the matrix, which is just, it's just a fancy word for, you know, arrays of numbers. But we'll talk about them and what they can stand for, what they can mean. And in fact, we'll get really deep into these perspectives. I'll be talking about like, if you look at the rows of a matrix, you can think of those as like coefficients of a system of linear equations, which we're going to see today. If don't worry if that went by too fast, we're going to see that in 5 minutes. There's a column perspective where you think of each column as a vector, and you think about combining vectors. And then this is really interesting, the transformation perspective, where it's like if you want to, like, for example, describe a rotation in the plane, you can write down a matrix to do that. or like in space, you can write down matrices to do different transformations and stuff. So, so we will be talking about all these transformations, and especially about how to translate from one to another. That's like an interesting problem in itself, like kind of building up this whole theory and being able to like translate between the different languages or among the different languages. Okay, and then this is just lists kind of the topics we plan to cover. If you just want to like pay attention to the sections. Oh, I guess this is another textbook that I have that I might post some pages from this other textbook that has a nice approach to this linear transformation stuff. But we'll definitely get through the eigen stuff and then as much as we can of these other things. I will say also there's this second page up here, this handouts page. I over the years have written a lot of linear algebra handouts. And in fact, I think I really have most of the core stuff through eigenvectors and eigenvalues written into handouts. And we're going to spend a lot of time in class doing like group work, going through handouts, or just even using these handouts as sort of like a skeleton, like a scaffolding to like go through and like answer questions. And in fact, we're going to look at this first one today. So I would recommend like starting to familiarize yourself with these, like download them and put them in a folder or something, and start, you know, maybe start browsing through them just to get some of the ideas of some of the wording, the terminology and stuff. I also just was like looking through some documents the other day and found this that I forgot I wrote, which is like, I think I wrote it for the college, was asking for like syllabi and learning goals. So this is a general, like, you can sort of see like, if you wanted to read through this and see like what we're gonna kind of cover. And then there's also just like, they asked me to write learning goals, which is kind of nice to think about, like the kind of stuff I would expect you to be able to do by the end of the semester. And so you might refer back to this throughout the semester, just like, and I'll try to remember to just like see if we're meeting all these learning goals. And if you can do all this stuff, you'll be in good shape for, again, like for a good grade and for understanding linear algebra. So yeah, so this page, yeah, I would say look at this, start looking at these. And then I have some Mathematica code that I'll show you that to do some of these different, just to visualize some stuff or to like solve some things more easily. There becomes a point where like, we're gonna do like hand solving of linear systems at first, but then there becomes a point where that becomes annoying and you just want to tell a computer to do it for you. Like you're not gonna want to solve by hand some system of like 7 equations and 7 variables when a computer can do it instantly. And so some part of the course will be like telling computers to do the computation and then interpreting the results. You know, that's the more interesting thing, not doing the computations by hand, but actually just interpreting the results. We'll do it by hand at first because you want to understand the process and the methods that the computer is using, right? You don't want to just, you know, just trust the computer completely to do everything for you. You want to understand what the computer is doing. So that's part of this also. Again, any questions about any of that? Oh, I don't have the chat window up. There it is. Good, you're excited about math? Okay, so I would recommend going to this page and getting this file. It's also on, I think, the class meeting 1 page. Yeah, there's a link to it there also. Sometimes, oh, that was fast. Okay, sometimes Google Drive takes a while opening a PDF, but yeah, I would recommend downloading this. We're gonna actually break into groups and just, these are 2 intro problems. They're both nice applications that lead to systems of equations that you're gonna try to solve. I know a lot of chemistry students know how to balance equations, and so we'll just kind of automatically do it, but I really want you to try to write down the mathematical equations you get, like, and I give some hints on how to do that, rather than just like go immediately to the solution like you sort of know how to from chemistry. So you're gonna solve these 2 problems, and then I'm gonna ask you to sort of read, I mean, this is just some, I mean, we can actually just read this together right now. This is just some, a bunch of terminology. We use this for the real numbers, this bold, this kind, it's called a Blackboard bold R, and n-dimensional real space, or just n tuples of real numbers, is Rn. So R2 is like the coordinate plane, like the standard Cartesian plane. If you want to take a linear combination, just means adding and scaling variables together, or vectors. We'll talk about linear combinations of vectors. So like if I have a bunch of variables, like a linear combination is just multiplying scaling the variables by numbers and adding them. And those are the coefficients. And then a linear equation just puts an equals d at the, just that's this linear, what a linear equation is, right? It's just a lot of times in this class, if we're using, actually in general, instead of using like x, y, z, we'll use like x1, x2, x3 or something like that, just to think about the fact that we could do 100 variables or we could do 1,000 variables, But so this is a linear equation in the variables x1 through xn. Right? Hopefully that makes sense. Actually, that's not the way to do this. Here's the okay. And this is kind of a formal way of saying something obvious, which is how do you tell if something's a solution of an equation, right? It's just if you plug the numbers in and the equation works, then that's a solution. We'll talk about systems of linear equations, and that's what those first two problems are, is setting up a couple of simple systems and working through them. Systems linear equation is just a bunch of linear equations all together, and then finding a common solution, some numbers that's, some list of numbers that satisfy all these equations simultaneously. And then I have a bunch of questions that I want you to start thinking about in groups, just like conceptual questions. But then there's also like solve the general 2x2 case, and but then there's things to think about. There's a lot to think about. Like there's just a lot to think about. And I want you to just sort of explore today before we get into like full-born, what the like theory is and stuff. And then I don't know how far we'll get today, but there's definitely there's a lot. These handouts are long too. That's why there's only like 10 of them, but there's a lot in each one. So okay, does that all make sense about what I'm going to want you to do once we go into groups? Yes. And I'll be visiting. So okay, so let me show you this gather, because this is like my favorite thing. So this link down here underneath the office hours. Okay, now this will be. So you are you have an avatar, and let me just turn on my camera is not enabled. Wait, how do I? Wait, I did this just. Oh, no, it's on now. Okay. You may have to give some permissions or something. A couple caveats about Gather. Safari hates Gather for some reason. So if you can use Chrome or Firefox, it doesn't matter if you're on an iPad or a computer, like it hates Safari, but it's pretty good. It's even on iPad, it's pretty good with Chrome and Firefox now. But this is what you get if you go to this link, and some of you may already be there. Hey, look, at least one person's there. Oh wait, I'm gonna mute myself. Actually, I'm gonna mute Zephyr also. Okay, just because I don't want the cross contamination between the Zoom and the Gather. So as you get farther and closer, the person comes up, like their audio and video, or at least their audio was coming up. And so you only see the people near you. And then you just use the cursor keys to wander around. And then also, like, if you're in one of these areas, it's considered a private space. So like the students in this area can only hear and see each other. So it's kind of a way to do Zoom rooms without Zoom. It's like you can actually go into these little rooms. I'm going to put you in groups in these little rooms. And yeah, and so we can actually, hi Jack. And so see how you fade away when you move away. And so we're going to divide into groups and then go into these rooms and work on stuff. And then once you're in one of these rooms, see how it says press X to use shared whiteboard? So there's actually like a whiteboard that you can use that I seem to have, I or one of my students seem to have drawn on. One thing that's a little annoying about this whiteboard thing is erasing. You have to like select stuff and then delete it, which is just the stupidest way to erase I've ever seen. So that's the one thing that's sort of annoying here, is that that's the only way to erase. But then you can draw and you can change the color, I guess, to things. You can also, if you want, you can share the link and just open it in a separate browser tab, or copy it to your iPad and open it on your iPad, and then you can write on there. So each little room has its own whiteboard. Delete all that. And so you can go in and basically what I want you to do is like start working together, but like using the whiteboard to like record your progress and stuff, if that makes sense. So this is really cool. I like this this environment. It's much better for me than Zoom rooms in terms of like, it's easier for me to like dart back and forth. Oh, hey, people are trying to show up. It's easier to like, you know, dart back and forth. You can also click on people to start seeing like all the people together, or there's some sort of like, and then like I said, the whiteboard, you might open in a separate tab, or you might copy the link and open a separate tab, or open on an iPad. And what else? Zephyr's hand is still up. I don't know how you did that. Oh, you say I'm open to chat or something. That's exciting. So there's different, so you can come play with this. There's like there is screen share, but hey, look, there's like, if I'm feeling happy, I can confused. And then it's just easier to come grab me too if your like group is stuck or something on something and wants to come ask me a question. But also I can dance back and forth between the different rooms really easily, which is also nice, and just visit different groups. Even another thing is like, if you're talking, there's a little bubble appears over your head if I'm away from you. And so I can actually see which groups are talking to each other, which is nice. Nobody seems to be using their camera correctly. I don't know if that's, sorry, the camera stuff is it's a little bit weird. It's a little bit of a learning curve on getting used to how this works. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do, and by the way, oh, here, I'll just go over here just before we run out. There's also this area over here. First off, there's this spotlight square where you can talk to everyone. So be careful not to be talking when you're standing on the square if you don't want everyone to hear you, everyone in the space. And then there's actually a, wait, I don't see the option to enter. I think it's because I'm already in the Zoom, maybe not. I thought there was a way to get back into the Zoom here. I didn't actually check whether this link is the correct link. So, but you can re-enter the Zoom. We want to do that in today's class, but if we want to come in here for a while and then go back to the Zoom, you can come in here and just connect to the Zoom through there, but I'll make sure it's the right link to do that. It's not coming up with the little X. Oh, there it is. Oh, see, yeah, it comes up and then you click. I didn't see the press X to like join call thing. Like with the whiteboards, it said press X to use the shared whiteboard, right? I thought it would come up with press, oh, there it is, press X for external call. So then you do that and then you have the link and it'll like gray out your character in Gather and turn off your microphone and video in Gather. And then when you leave the Zoom, you can come back and it'll like bring you back. So we can go back and work in the Zoom sometimes. It's mainly for this week, but I also will have office hours like this, or if there's some other time we need to be remote. Anyways, it's fun, as you can tell, hopefully. So what I want to do is, oh, I didn't think at all. Oh, I need to think about how to divide up into groups. Can we self-select ourselves into groups? Like, I think there's like 15 or 16 of you. Wait, how many people are in here? Oh, there's 18. So I think groups of like 4, like maybe 4 groups of 4, like in rooms 1, 2, 3, and 4 would be the way to do it. So if you guys just start walking into like those rooms, just like try to put like about 4 people in each room. Sorry, I should have some method of dividing it up into groups, but maybe we can do this. So there's room 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's 2 people in room 1. Oh, okay. I guess these people are using room 9. I just want to use 4 rooms, but I said 1 through 4, but you can use whatever. So there's people in room 9. That was pretty good. I don't know if the people in room 3 and room 2 want to combine. Maybe Kavi and Jack, or oh yeah, Ursula and Danielle go to room 3. Thank you. Okay, so that's good. And then Ian can join whatever room he wants. And yes, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually stop the Zoom, or at least mute myself in Zoom, but you guys can all leave the Zoom. If Gather is working for you, if it's really not working for you, let me know. Actually, I'll stay on the Zoom for a minute, but if Gather is working for you, then go to Gather and go into one of these rooms and like leave the Zoom, because you don't want to use both because of the crossing of the audio streams and feedback and stuff. But if you're really not having, if you can't make Gather work for you, you can stay in the Zoom for a minute and talk to me. And I can try to help you out. Oh, what just happened? Any of you having a lot of trouble with, any of you who are still on the Zoom having issues with Gather? No? Okay, then you can leave the Zoom. And I'm going to end the Zoom in a minute. I just want to make sure everyone got Gather working for themselves.
Hey, Professor.
Hmm?
I do have a problem with Gather because I cannot access the information on the class Blackboard.
Oh.
I don't know why. Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to, I should stop the recording because we don't need to record anymore. Right. Oh, because are you not officially in the class yet?
I sent you an email yesterday and then you gave me permission to get to the class. I have registered, but it just doesn't